Hello, and welcome to day 7 of our Advent series. We're so glad you chose to join us today. I'm Karen Bailey from the West Ashley campus, and today we have block number 7, which is the burning bush. And our story comes from Exodus 1 through 4, 11 and 12. Now, yesterday we learned how Joseph rescued his family by bringing them to Egypt to escape the famine. They stayed in Egypt after the famine, and the family grew and grew and grew. God's family had so many people, but the king was very mean, and he made them all slaves. They had to work all day long. Now they cried out to God, and God heard their cry, and he chose Moses to be their deliverer. Moses was out in the wilderness, and he saw a bush that was on fire that didn't burn up. And God spoke to him through that bush and told him that he had heard his people's cries, he had seen their chains, and he was going to set them free. But he needed Moses to go to Pharaoh to tell him to let his people go. Now Moses was afraid to go to Pharaoh and tell him, but God was with him, so he went. And he went to Pharaoh and he said, "Let my people go." And Pharaoh said no. So God sent plagues. He sent frogs. He sent flies. He sent lice. He sent darkness. He sent hail. And Pharaoh still said no. So God told Moses to go back to Pharaoh and tell him that I am going to send one more plague, that he needs to let my people go, that if he doesn't, the firstborn male child in every family is going to die. So Moses went back to Pharaoh and said, God says, let my people go, or the first male child of every home is going to die. But Pharaoh said no. So Moses went to God's people and he told them what was going to happen. And he said, put the lamb's blood over the doorposts so that death will pass over your house. That night, many people died, including Pharaoh's son. He was so upset that he finally told the people that they could leave, that they were no longer slaves. So all of God's people left Egypt, and they were wandering in the wilderness. But it didn't take very long before they'd forgotten what God had done. They even thought it would be a good idea to go back to Egypt, back where they were slaves. They were back at the same problem that they were before. Come back tomorrow and find out what that is.